So, I mean, we've always known we wanted to do one.
Yeah, I think it's just appropriate. I've been telling everybody, self-titled, to me anyway, it's like, out of the past 4 records we've done or whatever, this is now Mudvayne. This is what Mudvayne is. And self-titled kind of explains it. Why I titled it Mudvayne. If you look at it that way, it's like, this is Mudvayne. We've had other things. We can, kind of combine the last 4 records, and now we have this record. I don't think we can invent anything else, us 4, unless we want to start writing punk rock songs or something. But that's not going to make it Mudvayne, So I think that's what this record is. That's how I see the self-titled.
I think that people can become closer to the music by forming their own opinions, and I think it kind of liberates the listener a little bit, just to be able to I've had so many people, throughout our career come up to me and be like, "Oh, it's a song about blah blah blah," and I'm like, I mean to bum you out, no, but that's a cool way to look at it. You know what I mean? I've never thought of it that way, or I never looked at it that way. It's an interesting view, but. If I told everybody right now or then, what every song was about, every syllable and everything, then I'd never have those conversations. Those conversations are great. Rock and roll will never die. You know what I mean? It's always going to be there. Whether they're going to buy it, I have no idea. You know what I mean? The demographic for rock is the demographic for rock. It's generally young people or whatever. Older people are having a hard time. You know what I mean? Making ends meet. I can imagine, being young, especially with all the music that's out there. There's a lot of bands out there right now, and it seems like when metal is kind of on the up, and comes out of the basement, you know what I mean? You start seeing all of these different bands, and it's like that you don't ever hear of when they're in the basement, you know what I mean? When metal's kind of on the down, it just kind of goes up and down. But when it's in the spotlight, there's a lot of music out there to buy. There's not a lot of money to buy it with. And I get that, which is why, this concept is I'm not just going to put a record on a white cover and say, buy this record. You know what I mean? We wanted to do something special. Like I said, incentivize the record. It's everything. Everything. Look around you, everything is ridiculous. It's just, you know what? It's like you're taught in school, keep your eyes on your own paper. You know what I mean? But the way that we're conditioned with the Inquirer and the internet and blah, 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 and this and that, it's like, you got to know everybody's business. You know what I mean? And it goes from some person, sitting at home or walking through a grocery store line reading an Inquirer to a fucking government that's got to meddle in other people's business. You know what I mean? Some things you just have to leave alone. You know what I mean? You got to work on what's yours and let everything else go. You know what I mean? It's really frustrating to go, why can't we figure this out? Why are people, starving? Why are people broke? Why are people losing their houses? Why are people loaning people money that they know they can't pay back? Why are people allowing the world to get upside down to make a buck? It's like you've got to discriminate here and there. We don't do that. We just throw everything on the table, That's frustrating to me, I personally think every day things become more difficult. And every day they pile more and more shit on it. You know what I mean? To make it harder to get. It's like, you can't see the forest through the trees kind of vibe. It's like, it's right here. It's so clear, but it's just there's so many layers to get to the problem. You know what I mean? Just get to the problem. You know what I mean? Work the problem. Don't deal with this and you got to deal with that and you got to deal with this and you got to deal with that and that and that and that and that and that and so on and so forth just to get to the problem. And I think it piles up more and more every day. I think there's more and more tape put on things every day. And it's, it's like putting Band-Aid on cancer. It's just like, at some point you got to try to fix it. At some point you got to go and do some chemo, you know what I mean? And try to get it from the inside out. It's like, this ain't going to work. Just we're imploding, so. I don't think Mudvayne.
I don't think Mudvayne's really, Hell yeah, it's a completely different animal.
Absolutely.
It's completely different. And to come back to Mudvayne, I had to get in the right headspace to even do it. I mean, I was ready to do it, but it's a totally different headspace you have to get into right with Mudvayne. There's 4 individuals, and everybody's got their opinions, and it's, it takes a while to get things together and rolling. Hell yeah, it's like pop a beer and write a song in an hour.
It's definitely a different vibe, but we've worked very hard to keep everything separate. You know what I mean? On every level, an aspect of business to emotion, everything. It's a separate. I think there's another side of ourselves that we've stepped out of and kind of climbed into, and we're living in that skin when we're in hell yeah, and then we kind of climb out of that and climb into this one and just kind of come back and forth.